Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're about to begin our program, so please do take your seats. Thank you, everybody, so much for coming out, and it's really wonderful to see a packed crowd here. This is so important to us all. As you know, we've been commemorating Yom HaShoah for many, many years around the world, and of course, here in Sarasota. This is a very, very unique and special time for us all as Jewish people and even as non-Jews. Some of you are not necessarily Jewish in our audience, to remember what happened in the Holocaust, and for many of us in our own lifetimes, believe it or not. It's just an amazing thing. We have many Holocaust survivors right here sitting in front of you, so get to know them today, reach out, strike up a conversation. Just a couple of things before we officially begin our beautiful program here. If you feel you need water, perhaps you can just raise a hand to this lovely lady who was over there a moment ago. There she is, Sandra, and she will get you some water if you need it. So, in addition to having our commemoration, and you'll be hearing speakers momentarily, and our lovely band and the Chazan here at Temple Beth Shalom, these grounds are host to a most unique program. And when I say unique, I really mean unique. This is the first of its kind, as far as we know, here in the United States, and allow me to explain. We have two very important community members here, and I want them to raise their hands so we can find who they are. Ed and Betty Rosenthal. Ed and Betty, in recent times, were in Israel. And when they were in Jerusalem, they visited Yad Vashem. For those of you that don't know what Yad Vashem is, it's really one of the most special and very important Holocaust museums in the entire world. They were so moved by what they saw there, not just by the content, but the fact that there was an orchard, an organic orchard, which was built for the next generation. The idea is for the next generation, all of you younger people, to carry the legacy of what happened in that horrible chapter under the Nazis, and to bring it forward, to let everybody around you know, to let your children, as you get older, let your kids know, let people next to you know that you will not accept bigotry, racism, or hatred under any circumstances, that you will speak up. This is so vital. Today, you're all going to have a chance to see something so marvelous. When we're done with this little program, please walk down to the right, and you will have a chance to see the only Remember Me Orchard in this country. Could you imagine? Here in Sarasota, Temple Beth Shalom has constructed 6 trees, 2 mango trees, 2 avocado trees, a pomegranate, and an olive tree. So our children can visit this. So we and all your visitors here in Sarasota can view what a unique and important thing this is, to carry the torch forward. Now I'd like to bring up someone that is very familiar to most of you in this community. If you've attended anything in Sarasota that is remotely Holocaust related, you will know Dr. Helen Fagan. She, of course, is also a Holocaust survivor from Poland, and she will tell you all that she wants to tell you today. Please help me welcome, without applause, Dr. Fagan.
Well, actually, this is a surprise to me, because I thought that I was asked to just read a piece I had written. So I will just limit my remark to that one point. I spent years in ghettos, and mostly in Radomsko ghetto, where I was born, where I lived with my family. We were caught in the Radomsko ghetto in the first days of World War II, which was September 1, 1939, and our ghetto was established in October of 1939 with a Bloody Tuesday, where Germans wanted to show us what they can do with the Jewish people, and they actually rounded all the Jewish men on the square, which later was to be called the Umschlagplatz, and tortured them and beat them and also killed some. So the ghetto Radomsko was actually the second ghetto established in Poland after Piotrków Trybunalski, which was the first ghetto. There were very many so-called actions in the ghettos and many deportations to places unknown. And after 2.5 years in the ghetto, in 1942, there was the liquidation of the ghetto. So in 1942, the remnant of Radomsko Jews were put in columns, sent to railroad station, and sent away to their final destination, the gas chambers of Treblinka. My parents were among them. But there were a small group of Jews that were retained at that time to do sort of a final job of liquidation just before that action. And I was among them. There was a family living in that little apartment house next to us, the Bessers. They had 3 children, a boy, Yossi, and 2 girls, Sarale and Hannah. And just before that last action, the parents and 2 girls were taken away, and Yossi was left behind. I was alone, left behind from all my family. And I remember Yossi coming to me and crying bitterly. He was 12 years old, and he was crying, saying, and I was dreaming that someday I will become bar mitzvah. And this boy, as many others whom we remember today with a Remember Me, perished. And after I survived, I thought it behooves me to write something about how I felt and how the boy felt in that conversation with him prior to his being taken away. This is in memory of Yossi and in memory of the 1,500,000 children who didn't live to enjoy their bar mitzvah and their lives. This is my remembrance of a conversation with a boy in the ghetto on his 12th birthday. On my 12th birthday, I am all alone, without anybody to care for me, without anyone to love me, without anyone to be waiting for me. I was left alone. All my loved ones were taken away from me, never to return. As I wonder what my fate might be, should I, by some miracle, not die, I wonder what it would be like to reach my bar mitzvah age without my family to celebrate with me. Should I, by a miracle, reach the age of 13, I will stand in front of a Jewish congregation and tell them with pride that today I am a man and I am a Jew who knows and who understands that being a Jew is indeed very special. that to live as a Jew means to have a duty to survive all adversities. It is an obligation to live on and a responsibility to represent to the world what is right and what is decent. But I know my days are probably few, and to dream is all I can do. I pray to God that someday, someplace, Jewish boys who are 12 going on 13 would carry on this responsibility with me. And in my name, and in the memory of my little sister Hannah and Sarah, and for all my friends whose life was cut because of their Jewishness, for all of us, let them always remember that we died as Jewish children. I pray to God that these children would have the good luck to live out their lives as Jewish children, and that all boys of 13 will have their parents and their loved ones by their side on their bar mitzvah day. And though I wouldn't hear all those children at their bar mitzvah observance and celebration, perhaps I may ask them, would they chant a part of the Haftorah for me and for all my friends who cannot be there to hear them? Today, we fulfill part of Yossi's wish.
Thank you so much, Helen. I wish my own parents could be here to hear this and to be part of this, as they were also survivors. Now we'd like to bring up a delightful young lady who is definitely going to be a big, big contender in the world of Jewish affairs. She's studying international affairs, and she'll tell you a little bit more about herself, I hope. Please, let's bring up Elise Warren.
Hello, everyone. I remember being your age, obviously not too long ago, as I'm only 19, and wondering what my mitzvah project would be. What would I do as a bat mitzvah? What impact would I have on the world as a Jewish young lady? And where could I go with that? How can I let it progress throughout my life? And I'd always had a fascination with the Holocaust. How is it possible that in a matter of years, our flourishing history and thriving culture that was in Poland, Russia, and Eastern Europe, and how was it so eradicated so fast? And it wasn't until the March of the Living in 2011 with a couple other participants that I was able to explore these concepts and realize what I could do as a person, as a Jew, as a lady, and as part of a witness for generations after witnessing a bar mitzvah. He was a survivor. I think he was 93 in Auschwitz-Birkenau, get bar mitzvahed at the barrack that he was held at. It was the same barrack that Elie Wiesel was held at. We had seen photos, we had heard stories from him, and just hearing him speak and the hope he had for my generation, for your generation, was so inspiring that when I came back, I decided I'm going to make this my life's cause. I'm going to major in this. I'm going to study international affairs. I'm going to study Eastern Europe, the history of it, the culture of it, and where our people fit in it, and how the Holocaust is preserved and memorialized there. I decided to major in this at University of South Florida and make this my thesis. I currently have just built an exhibit on the Holocaust in Latvia. It will be published this fall, and hopefully it will be defended in my thesis next year when I graduate. But I wanted to take a moment and just let you know that you guys are bearing witness. Even though you haven't been to Poland yet and Germany and seen these camps and seen these sites, you are preserving the memory of those that have perished and those that do not have the voice that you have now to speak for. And it comes full circle. It'll affect you throughout your life. It will be something you and bear as a duty to tell future generations, your children, your grandchildren. It can be written about. It is something that you will carry with you, and that will preserve the memory of the Jewish people, the others that were affected by the Holocaust, and have perished under the Nazi regime. And it is so imperative and integral to our history, and I'm very proud of you.
Elise, we need more people like you in our community and around the world. I'm sure everybody will agree to that. And what I'm loving about today is, as I'm looking around, we're seeing an intergenerational community. We're seeing the survivors, we're seeing their children, and now the grandchildren are rising up and getting ready to take the torch. So take this all in, kids, because you're part of it in a huge, huge way. Now we'd like to do the tree dedication. So we'd like to have the trees dedicated. First, we're going to bring up a couple of our youngsters, and we're going to start with Ben Weber.
During my bar mitzvah, I memorialized Leonid Yamin, who was born in Odessa City, Odessa, Ukraine, in 1937, to Grigory and Clara Yamin. During the war, he was in the Odessa ghetto. It was seized by the Nazis on October 16, 1941. Soon after, he was murdered in 1941 in the Odessa ghetto at the age of 4. The reason I decided to memorialize a child victim of the Holocaust is because Leonid was merely 4 years old when he perished. He did not have the blessing of living a full life. I'm very grateful I have never been discriminated against for my religious beliefs and have the blessing of happiness and health. I hope to let his name live on through me. The Remember Us program will provide anyone the honor to remember a lost child or a loved one in the Holocaust. It is a true mitzvah of any bar or bat mitzvah to remember any of those who did not have the opportunity to become a bar or bat mitzvah themselves.
Thank you, Ben. Sorry. Next we have Sierra von Such. I'm sorry.
Today, I dedicate a tree in the orchard to Rhea Cohen, a child who lost her life during the Holocaust. There are few records to show Rhea's existence. All I was able to learn about her is the fact that she was born in 1942 and lived in Berlin, Germany. Rhea's mother's name was Herta, and her father's name is not even recorded. Rhea died in the Shoah at Auschwitz concentration camp at the all-too-young age of 1. I also lost family during the Holocaust. My great-grandfather, Joseph Berkowitz, came to the United States with some of his siblings from the Hesse region of Germany when he was just 16 to join his father Isidor, who had been working hard and saving to have all of his family join him. When the time came for the family to come, my grandfather's oldest sister, Freda, stayed behind to care for their mother, Gustel. Gustel was not allowed to leave due to an eye infection. Because of this, Freda and Gustel both perished during the Holocaust. Freda died in the Shoah at Buchenwald concentration camp in April of 1941 at the age of 32. We must remember those who lost their lives in the Holocaust. Through us, they live on in our memories and hearts. The Remember Us program has given me Rhea Cohen's name so she will not be forgotten. No one else will ever receive her name. It is up to me to keep her memory alive for the rest of my life. I understood the importance of this when I recited my bat mitzvah for her, so I could give Rhea the bat mitzvah she would have had if she survived. Every year on the anniversary of my bat mitzvah, I light a candle for Rhea. In doing so, I will not let Rhea or the atrocities of the Holocaust be forgotten.
Thank you so much, Sierra. Next we have Marissa Bragg.
I am honored today to share again in spirit the person I honored on my bat mitzvah, Byla Proforeski. I got her name from the Remember Us project. Byla was born in 1935. She lived in Krakow, Poland. Her parents' names were Sarah and Pinkas. Byla died in 1942 at the age of 7. 1.5 million Jewish children were lost in the Holocaust before they had a chance to grow into Jewish adults, and most before their own call to Torah. I honored Byla Proforeski in spirit on my bat mitzvah day, April 4th, 2011, and every year on the anniversary of my bat mitzvah, since Byla Proforeski did not have a chance to survive to her own bat mitzvah, I have and will light a candle to keep her memory alive. My great-grandparents were from Russia and Poland. I'm thankful that they came to the United States, to Ellis Island, before the Holocaust. I hope this Remember Us project helps people to remember so that this tragedy does not happen again. I also hope that more bar and bat mitzvah students will continue on the tradition of honoring a child that had never had a bar or bat mitzvah because they perished in the Holocaust. I'm very pleased that Byla Proforeski will also be remembered in this very special fruit orchid. I will make sure to visit, and I hope you will too.
Thank you also, Marissa. And last but not least, we have Foster Swartz.
Hello, my name is Foster Hartman Swartz, and today I would like to remember my two great aunts, Valika and Olga Hartman. Raised in the small village of Roskoviany in the eastern part of Czechoslovakia, Valika and Olga were two normal teenage girls growing up in Europe. They very much enjoyed sledding, swimming, reading, learning Hebrew, and even berry picking with their younger brother and my grandfather, Andrew Hartman. Yes, it was a very good life for the two daughters of Teresia and Julius Hartman. A life, though, that began to be ripped away in March of 1942 when the labor camp edict for Olga reached the Hartman home. The family packed her necessities and unknowingly sent her away on the very first female transport of the final solution. The next day, the family heard that farm girls like Olga, though, were exempt from the call. Olga died at 17 in Auschwitz the very same year. In May of 1944, the family had a rare brush with luck, though. The information came to them by a safe party that they would be able to flee their homeland in order to escape deportation. The possibility came into their minds they would be able to escape once and for all the horrors of their homeland. It was too late, though. After a mere few hours of travel, they were arrested and placed on a train for a labor camp. Although, seeing as Valika was still a child, she was able to escape having to do the grueling work the labor camp entailed. It seemed the death toll in the family finally might have stopped. It did not. On September 9th, 1944, Valika and her two parents were all taken by train to Auschwitz. Valika, 16 at the time, and both of her parents died less than 3 months later. Despite all of this, though, today should not be considered a sad occasion. Today we honor the memory of these two wonderful people and cherish the idea that something this horrible will never happen again. I thank you all for participating in such a sacred ceremony, and I thank you for listening. The Remember Us program provide any of you the honor to remember a lost child or loved one in the Holocaust. It is a true mitzvah for any bar or bat mitzvah to remember those who did not have the opportunity to have a bar or bat mitzvah of their own. Thank you.
All of you spoke so beautifully and so poignantly. And Foster, I could see that the apple did fall far from the tree because I know your mom speaks as brilliantly. She lost her voice today, but we know what a great speaker Susan Swartz is. Now, we have more people this time. We have our adult ceremony dedicated by Peter Lederer. Is Peter here? And we know it's going to be Eddie Heifetz, please. I'm sorry. That was Edie.
Thank you. That's okay. My name is Peter Lederer, and I'm here to remember my grandfathers, whom I never had the joy of knowing. They perished in the Holocaust, and I'm here to plant a tree in the memories of Carl Lederer and Isidore Beaver, who were taken from me at a very young age. May we never forget. Thank you for the Remember Me garden. Thank you.
I never knew you, but I knew as soon as I could understand. I knew that we were a broken, shattered family. The Milachama stole you from us in unspeakable ways. You, my grandparents, my uncles, my aunts, my cousins, my brothers had been battered, beaten, and burned. Your names became flames that torched my very being, never to be healed, leaving only a shell, alone and afraid. I never knew you, but I knew every night in the dark, while hoping for blessed quiet, that when the inconsolable wailing would begin, penetrating the wall, piercing my heart, that the unabated sobbing which tormented me was for you, only for you. I never knew you, but I knew that if you were alive and not me, you would have the courage to console them, embrace them, offer them kind, comforting words, loving hugs and kisses. I could only lay still and silent. I never knew you, but I knew by what I heard as I lay in dread that their scarred, broken minds and bodies would never heal. I knew I should run to them, give them hope, give them joy, give them love. I could only remain paralyzed and mute. I never knew you, but I know you are beautiful, smart, good, and gone without a final farewell. I never knew you, but I knew that I would never measure up to their idealized sacred memories of what was and what might have been. I never knew you, but I knew I would spend my life looking, searching for any of you, hoping, praying, but that dream was never to be. Now, with the planting of this tree, you have a final resting place, a place that the fruits you will be producing in this sacred arbor will bring sustenance and peace to those who will visit, to me. I never knew you, but I knew that your horrific demise created my life. I never forgave you for leaving me alone to endure their suffering. I never knew you, but I knew, I always knew, that I would always remember because I can never forget.
Those, of course, are powerful words and emotions that resonate with all of us, even if you haven't been directly impacted by the Holocaust. Who cannot relate to that? We'd like to bring up Rabbi Mishkin, please, for blessings.
Good afternoon, everyone. I know that it might be somewhat inappropriate to applaud, so I won't ask that you do so, but I think all of our hearts are filled with a certain kind of appreciation and gratefulness to all of the individuals who have spoken thus far and who have shared their stories and shared the stories of loved ones and of people whom they never ever knew. But clearly this is an event that personally I will not forget. It all begins with a premise of Jewish thinking. The fundamental concept, theological concept, that underlies all Jewish care for the environment is that God created the universe, and therefore God has absolute ownership over all of its creations. Now, there is a covenant, there is a partnership. Humans are an integral part of this premise. We are caretakers not only of each other, but we are also caretakers of the world in which we live. The Shoah, this terrible event that we recall on this day, represents a profound double negation of this theology. First and foremost, to think that it is normative or expected or okay to end the lives of human beings fashioned in the image of God based solely on the circumstances of their birth is an outrage. Second, to feel that we can do anything that we please on this planet in which we live is also an outrage. My dear friends, the Remember Me Holocaust Organic Fruit Treat Orchard is the response to those outrageous doctrines that the Nazis began to implement. Our blessing is twofold. First, that we never forget and always remember those whose lives were taken from them in untimely fashion. And second, that we understand that this is a garden that is dedicated not only to the past, but equally to the future. It was with great consideration, deliberation, and forethought that these fruit trees would be environmentally friendly, nourishing, and safe for our children of the next generation. These two concepts, past and present, past and future, are melded together to represent what it means to be a caring and a conscious human being. We're about to dedicate 6 trees this afternoon. We will not forget, though, that we just begin with 6. It is but the future of the garden that we look forward to. That it too will not only be a constant reminder of the past, as the plaques that you will soon see will indicate, but that it will also be a symbol of the future, that we will never allow such a horror ever to happen again. May the entire community benefit from such a generous and important contribution. And may we never forget that we human beings still do have the power to change the world. This is a change for the better and a reminder of the indecencies of the past, and a sacred oath that we will never allow such lawlessness and destruction to rule the world. We are not owners of this world. We merely care for it. And thus it is our responsibility to treat it with the respect and the reverence that it deserves. So let this garden become an ongoing memory and an important incentive for anyone who wishes to take a stand and change the world for the better. And to that may we all say,
I don't believe there's anything that could be added to that, Rabbi. That was really so powerful and music to all our ears. So I think we've come to the end of the program. I did have my program printed out, but I think someone, by mistake, thank you so much. Okay, that's great. Now we're going to be hearing music from our kids. This is the GFA, of course, children here at Temple Beth Shalom, and you all are going to be performing music from Schindler's List. Thank you so much. That was wonderful. And I should add that that music, that gorgeous piece of music, was composed by John Williams. Well, we've come to the end of the program now. And I'd like to, on behalf of myself and the Jewish Federation of Sarasota and Manatee, the Blumenthal Family Fund, as well as the Rosenthal Family Fund, and of course we have Ed here, who was so instrumental in putting all this together. Thank you, Rabbi, for allowing this amazing and powerful event to take place. And the best part of it is yet to come. Please visit our orchard right in the back. Once again, if those of you showed up a little bit late, early in the program we mentioned that this is all about the Remember Me Orchard. And it's right here in our little city, in this beautiful temple. So please, it's going to give you a smile and bring this all to fruition in such a real way. And once again, we thank you for being here. And kids, remember, you're the future.